John, I would like to ask you if you agree to speak a bit about the Thailand Tamil manuscripts.
You must be a thought reader because my eye had just fell on the Tamil texts.
Ah,
Now, as with so much in my life, David, that was happenstance. S. Singaravelu, who was Professor of Tamil in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia University, he had these recordings and he lent them to me because he couldn't make out what they were. And the reason for me, I forget whether I had prompted him to lend them to me, but the fact is that in the 30s, excuse me just a moment, in the 30s, there was a chap called Quaritch Wales who wrote a book called The Siamese State Ceremonies. And in the course of the book, he had narrated of how he met the so-called Brahmin priests of the royal temple connected with the royal ceremonies of coronation beside the great swing, which isn't used anymore because it was so dangerous, in Bangkok. He met these people. Why did I say so-called Brahmins? Because when I went there, they were A, wearing shoes in their temple, and B, smoking. So they didn't really come up to scratch. Anyway, Quaritch Wales had met these people and asked about their chants. And he said, what language are they in? And the answer was, well, we don't know what the language, of course we don't know it or understand it. It's a language for talking to God. Now, you can understand with sort of what we call Chinese whisper style, that after many centuries, whatever the original text was, in whatever language, it would have got, shall we say, corrupted. And my goodness, that was the case with these. And these chants, eventually I borrowed the recording that Singaravelu had, and David, by sheer good fortune, penny dropped. Now, how did it drop? I must tell you. Every so often, in these gibberish, dare I use that word, I'm sorry, there would be, in Thai accent, Jilita Chittamalam. And Chittamalam did it. I thought, this has to be Tiruchitrambalam, bearing in mind the phonology of Thai, and it's not even of the same family of languages as either, Indo-Aryan languages in India, or let alone
Dravidian.
Tamil, Dravidian language. And so, of course, it was Tiruchitrambalam, and that did it. I knew then, by the sheer good fortune, and why Singaravelu hadn't spotted it as a Tamilian himself, God alone knows. But I was lucky, it's because I'd done some Thevaram, in connection with my degree and other things with Thompson. And so over the next 18 months, if only dear Wendy were here, because I commandeered the kitchen table for this enterprise, I had to transcribe the entire lot into intelligible Romanization, and incidentally solved the script, which seems to be a special invention for the purpose. The nearest I could relate to it would be Cambodian. But it is a Grunt, I called it Grunter script because it's clearly of Grunter origins. And in fact, one of the manuscripts, now that brings me to another strand, one of the manuscripts in the Vajrayana National Library in Bangkok, which I got to be able to study and photograph, has got a syllabary of the whole script. And so after that, it became dead easy. I could read it quite easily with the aid of the crib. The Tamil texts didn't take much chasing up since I'd located them as Thevaram. And interestingly, they turned out to be the first padigam of each of the Thevaram mover, the hymnists.
I see.
Tirunjana Sambandha, Appar and Sundara, your friend. The fourth lot was Monica Vasika's Tiruvasikam. And so it was a sort of resume, you could say, of the output of Thevaram.
Do you have any idea when they began? Do you know when they began to use these?
Sorry?
Do you have any idea when they began to use these in a liturgical way?
I wish I could suggest. Okay, I mean, if you want me to stick my head out, sometime between the 11th and 14th centuries.
Yeah, very early.
So very early in one sense, and plenty of time for it to get so corrupted in the mouths of people speaking a tonal Tibeto-Burman language.
Right.
And so, you know, it was something I really enjoyed doing.